Welcome to the Elevating La Cultura podcast, a space where I talk with Latinas who are passionate about what they do and are willing to share that passion with others to change the narrative, especially for the next generation. Each season is centered around different topics, but all with a Latina perspective. Welcome to Season 10, where I'm talking with Latinas who have founded nonprofits. I'm so excited to share these powerful conversations. So vámonos, and let's get into it. Sarah Taylor was born and raised on the Southside of Chicago as a first-generation American. In 2012, Sarah established Yo Soy Ella Inc., a nonprofit organization with the purpose in providing visibility to the importance of women's mental wellness. As the founder and executive director, Sarah saw the necessity for women of color to seek health equity, feel connected and informed in the discussion of what has always been silenced, in particularly within systemically marginalized communities of color, mental health. As a mental wellness professional, Sarah strives to advance how communities of color normalize conversations of mental wellness while validating the need for care, treatment, safety, and accessibility. Providing a culturally competent support system that empowers women to reclaim their internal and external identities through mental and spiritual awareness is how this Afro-Latina Panamanian identifies as a changemaker, the one who tried to inform change. Let's get into this conversation. Hi, I'm so excited to chat with you again. I know that we first met at another nonprofit event. We were both on a panel for our friend Jasmine, who is the co-founder or the founder of the Firehouse Dream. And it's so good to see you and to just talk about all the amazing work that you're doing with your organization. So I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
All right. Thank you so much, Karina, for this platform. And Elevating La Cultura is such an important platform. And of all things, when we're centering women and the things that we're doing in the community. So thank you for inviting me on this platform. So a little bit about me. My name is Sarah Taylor. I am the founder and executive director of Yo Soy Ella, which translates to I am her or I am she, however you use in that verb. What we do is provide free mental and emotional support services for women of color. And alongside with that, we also provide advocacy, education, and preventative services for women who are experiencing domestic violence. We've been doing this work for almost 12 and a half years and still continue to do this work in several communities across the city of Chicago.
Oh, I remember when I first heard about Yo Soy Ella and the work that you were doing, I was like, oh my gosh, that is a lot of hard work and it is heavy, but it is needed. And so I appreciate this resource that you have provided. But what inspired you to start this organization 12 years ago?
Yes, yes. So I always start off saying that this is a personal mandate. I am a survivor of domestic violence. I witnessed domestic violence. And in that fight and those years of survival, it was regardless whether it's witnessing it or experiencing it myself, I needed something to heal. Although I removed myself from those situations, the healing process started, and it wasn't looking so linear. It wasn't looking so positive. It was me circling around, figuring out if was I the issue, was I deserving of this, and I kind of like straddled between recognizing my self-worth and my value, and realizing, who was the real victim here, and that constantly that mental game that I was, caught myself in regular, regardless of I was witnessing it in my own home and experiencing firsthand, was always in a battle of questioning, if this is something that will continue in my relationships going forward, or this is something that I need to end here. And I didn't find the help that I thought I was going to, receive in a traditional therapy in those rooms. It actually didn't help me the way I needed. I've realized that a lot of professionals, when it comes to the mental health space, don't have that direct insight when it comes to survivors of domestic violence. So in that fight, I was like, you know what, I'm going to create a space, create something that I know I needed. And I'm going to create a space. I'm going to talk to other women who are experiencing the exact same things that I'm experiencing, and seeing if I can talk this through with people who have similar experiences instead of going head on with a professional, right? By talking it through with other women, I immediately began to heal. I noticed that it's a fight that I didn't have to take by myself. It's a fight that I didn't have to commit to by doing it all alone. And within that, I created a community. And of course, within that community, professionals came along. I became licensed. I, I cannot explain how grateful I am for the 12 women that we have today that are still with us, that are also part of the Yo Soy Ella, who are also professionals in this space and continue to share that same support to other women as well as to me. So I didn't get here by myself. I came here with a group and along with many, many of the survivors that got us to this point that we're at today.
I know we resonated when we talked earlier about communal healing and
Yes.
the power that communal
Mhm.
healing can have for individuals. So,
Mhm.
what was that journey of taking the group of women who were supporting each other through a
Mhm.
tough time into developing the nonprofit? Because I know that it is like
Mhm.
an intentional choice when you decide to build something that is bigger and more sustainable, and so and more formal and in what you're doing. So what was that journey of when you said, okay, I think that we can make this a nonprofit?
It was a very intentional journey. Obviously, you said it right on. It is a nonprofit, it is a business in itself, whether if you're making some type of income of it or not. You needed that intentionality of selecting the right people that understand the foundation of why this began in the first place, and also understand that we need some administrative uh, let's see, fortitude to make sure that the nonprofit continues to sustain itself, right? So, of course, I have a tremendous circle of women who I went to college with, and those who are my friends, and those along the way that were part of some of the workshops and group therapies who became members. And within that, we were able to identify those who were work hands-on with survivors, who would get certified, or those who are survivors themselves. We actually prefer that because we know they're the best ones to, pretty much pour into those women who are experiencing DV. And then we have those who have the admin business acumen that will help sustain the organization, but also understand the level of social impact that's needed, and they can take off their corporate hat and tap in some of that humanity and that social understanding that makes the marriage of the two so much easier for Yo Soy Ella to sustain herself the way she has been today. So it was a great group of selection of these women and the people that they brought on board themselves, because one woman lifted another woman and brought her in, and it just was just beautiful how we are where we are today. So I'm so grateful for that and who they are within Yo Soy Ella.
That's amazing and such a an encouragement that like
Mhm.
when you have a vision and when you start something, it's so encouraging to have people come alongside you and say, I believe in this. I believe in what you're starting, and just
Mhm.
be there for support and pouring into the organization, however it may be.
Right.
As you've built this
Mhm.
um, platform, as you built Yo Soy Ella, what are some challenges that you've overcome that you didn't necessarily expect to experience?
Mhm. This is a common challenge that I've shared previously. Every time when I've spoken about what are some challenges just the way I encountered, and one of the ones that that always sticks out like a thorn is the fact that we as members of Yo Soy Ella, the 13 of us, so the 14 of us, because it grows, right? Um, we all have day-to-day obligations. We are all have high demanding jobs, and a lot of us like, well, why don't you just forget the jobs and just merge everything you have into a nonprofit? That's not realistic for a lot of us. Nonprofits have its difficulties and its challenges, and it can be very risky, and a lot of us are very, very much more um, you know committed to the mental, what do we call it, the medical coverage that we have with our jobs and our employers, that makes it kind of hard of a decision to walk away from all that comes with that, just to, pour into a nonprofit solely. So it's been a blessing and a challenge that I've had a group of women who have demanding jobs, who they love so dearly, and they worked themselves all the way up to where they're at today, whatever what it may be, professional or academia accolades to get them to where they're at today, that I was able to create a way for them to serve while still commit to their daily work obligations. That actually was the intention of Yo Soy Ella. How can we create an organization that women are able to be of service and fill that cup of service that they want to fill in? It makes them feel a little bit more fulfilled, but yet not interfere with their work obligations. I created that for myself. I created that for them. And the challenge sometimes could be that sometimes they can get, tired, and disdain from the work obligations that might come over with Yo Soy Ella. But the beautiful thing is that we have a system that we have developed throughout the years that has able us to not be so burnt out in the space of service. And you said it first when we started this conversation, that domestic violence, intimate partner violence, gender-based violence is an emotional toll, is an emotional demand. So I was able to create a way that these women can still commit to their families and work obligations, but yet pour into servicing us and designing the year, the calendar year, so the fiscal year, so they can interwoven those desires to serve and also commit to their obligations. So it worked. It's a challenge, but it's working the best way we know how.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that I meet and connect with, like we have such a social justice heart, and we want to help and we want to do whatever we can to help each other. And there is a lot of healing that we are walking through, not just in our own lives, but like culturally. I feel like there's a cultural movement of just so much healing and discovery and um, just a new blossoming as we pour into, as we heal ourselves and pour into the next generation. So, how do you partner with this social justice mind and the hearts of the people who come alongside you, and also with navigating the corporate space with funding and other organizations and other people who might not um, or might be restricted on the systems that are already in place that are not necessarily built for us with our lived experiences in mind? And that might be a tough and heavy question, but I think it's a question that a lot of us are cautious of or mindful of as we are thinking about how to get involved.
Yeah, you know what? The beautiful thing about, Yosue, I'm gonna brag about her. She's just phenomenal, right? The organization. Um, a majority of us are social workers, and we stand on that truth. You are not a social worker if you're not incorporating social justice. It's like a red flag. If I see or hear a woman, if I'm interviewing someone, I'm like, oh, I'm a social worker, and I ask questions related to a lot of the commonalities that's happening around in our, historically marginalized communities. If she can't answer those questions properly or feel like she's not aligned with those viewpoints, she may not be a great fit for Yo Soy Ella. So that's something that we demark right away when we're trying to find the right fit for this sisterhood and for this community of women that we serve. So that right there creates us being social workers. I think, especially women who are conscious about the needs of our people and our community, I think naturally we have that social worker interconnectedness that we will not leave aside from us. And it intertwines the way we deliver our services, is embedded in our mission, our vision, and all that we work in those organizations that we choose to align ourselves with. Now, when it comes to the corporate organization that you so-called talked about, and how we make sure that we kind of like shed a light on them, like, hey, we're here, this is what we do, how do we get you guys involved? And I mean, a lot of it comes with the identity behind that or corporation. Like, yeah, we are a corporate organization, this is what we're set on as far as making sure CEOs and those people up there are financially happy. But we also, as a corporate, understand that we have real life human beings working for us that have real life needs and experiences, as you stated, Garina, that needs to be tapped into. So once those organizations identify people or the needs of their company with those individuals that are working for them, and they look out or outsource different nonprofits that can help them address those concerns that they might not be able to get their hands, really, dirty with, they call us, and we are so happy and obliged to go and assist those human beings working within that organization with human like experiences. So it all works out better when we, make ourselves available and open to tap into that. And of course, the more professional you are as an organization, I can't stress that. Corporates will lean into that a little bit more because a lot is tied, a lot is at stake. So they look for all of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as you mentioned, there is a lot of openness that has to be present in the work that you do. And as you lead an organization, like there's even more openness for the people who are the ones that are like on the ground and navigating and being the face and in person. How do you take care of yourself through all that? You said that you are intentional about providing that structure and that mindset, but how do you, in your day to day, pour into yourself and encourage the people who are working with you to do the same?
Oh, wow, Karina, that's a revelation that I have just come to some hard understanding within the last few years because I wasn't doing that. I was stuck on, I have to control everything for this to run the way it's quote unquote supposed to run or what is expected or what I've envisioned. And that was getting me nowhere. It was getting me burnt out. It was causing some of the members that are invested in making sure that Yo Soy Ella's mission is seen through and followed through and of course evolved as the years to come. It questioned like what is their input like if Sarah's doing everything or controlling everything. So it took about almost 3 years ago, probably right after I had my son, back in 2018 or 19, can't remember exactly, when I had to physically take a hard stop. Obviously I was a new mom, but that was a moment that I had to pause and said I can't do this like this any longer if I'm going to be sane, if I'm going to be well, or if I'm even going to be impactful towards the women that we're serving. I wasn't going to be as impactful. Maybe my impactfulness will go only to a certain threshold. It wasn't going to go any further if I continue this. So I think releasing my sense of control and trusting in the women that we have within Yo Soy Ella to deliver whatever is in their hearts or what Yo Soy Ella has aligned or the vision or what the people that we serve communicate to us effectively was something that I saw now today is why I can continue doing Yo Soy Ella. I can continue, like you said, being kind of well. I feel well. I feel okay because I gave up that control and I pushed that trust to them. And I think giving them that trust and giving them that control is strengthened their input and their investment in the organization. And I can just see how happy they are and more fulfilled they are. Like Sarah trusts us. I'm like, okay, yeah, I do. So it was just all a great round of a revelation that needed to take place on my behalf. I don't know if my son did it, the birth of him doing it, or maybe the hard stop needed. Like you're a mom now. Now what are you gonna do? Um, so maybe that's what it took. But it was just that pivotal point right there that I knew I had to transition my mindset and release control so I won't be burnt out any longer.
Oh my gosh, isn't it amazing when that pivotal moment happens? Um and I'm so thankful that you shared that story because I think especially as women and women who have not maybe seen leadership modeled to us and we are figuring it out like as a first generation on how to be leading nonprofits, leading our own businesses and working to this capacity. It it is a learning curve because we come into this space thinking that the more control that we have and the more like tight that everything is, the smoother it's going to be and the better it's going to be. But there's this moment, and it's something that I can't explain
Mhm.
either. And um, but it's this time where it's like you reach a point where you can't sustain that life anymore. You can't sustain leading in that capacity anymore. And it's when you stop and lean on the people that are around you and that you've trusted to do XYZ that you are able to see that growth. And yes, it's something that can't be explained,
Mhm.
but
It's rewarding. It's rewarding, because you notice that, this is what it took for me to get to, more, I was able to expand because I took a step back. So saying the no gave me the yes I needed to meet other people in different levels and expand your soul and explore different places that I thought would never be able to explore if I had not released control. So yeah, it's rewarding. Hmm.
Yeah, and it's so experiential. Like it's something that has to be experienced.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you for sharing that part of
Hmm.
your journey and your story.
Yeah.
As you have led and worked with your organization and grown your organization, are there any points that you've come to where you've experienced this imposter syndrome, and how did you navigate those thoughts?
Okay, so I have a, a love-hate relationship with imposter syndrome. So my imposter syndrome, at first I thought it existed. At first I thought I was always questioning myself, questioning if I belonged, or if I was deserving of this, or I was self-worthy of this, or whatnot. That literally started like I'm on 12th year, right? So I said in the 6th year, half into Yo Soy Ella, where she's at today. That was the problem. That was the process. I was always questioning myself because I was always in control of everything. I was trying to control everything. So I never had anyone to challenge my thoughts. Or I did, but not like the way I have today. Like, no, that's not for you because I was controlling everything. So when I kind of like changed my viewpoint on imposter syndrome and kind of like question everyone else who's questioning me if I belong, I reversed it. Like, no, I'm gonna question you why you think I don't belong. So I reversed that inner critic that I always had, that imposter syndrome does, is an inner critic. It tells you like, I don't think you belong, Sada. This reward wasn't for you, or this someone else doing bigger and greater. I had to change that mindset, and I think that I no longer have imposter syndrome. I refuse to accept it. I try to make it seem like, that's a negative attribute. I will not accept it. And if it creeps up when it comes to moments where I'm given opportunities that I thought I would never, see in my life, I would try to debunk that critic and say, like, I belong. Sarah, you were just doing your part. It didn't have to be big for you to be noticed. You did a part. You did something. And this is what it looks like. And I think I have to challenge myself, like, Sada, you don't always have to be big, bold, nonprofit, or do grandiose things to deserve that platform, deserve that opportunity. Just do your part. And that's how I reversed my inner critic. I did my part, so this is what I get. So that's how I had to tell myself that. And I tell everyone that just do your part, and you'll see how everything else will handle itself. Just do your part. Just do your part.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. And I love that shift in mindset of reversing that.
Yes.
Uh, so good, so good.
Mhm, mhm.
12 years is
Uh-huh.
a huge milestone. Like, I feel like every year is to be
Oh,
celebrated.
yes.
How has the organization and your programming and everything shifted from year one to year 12?
Oh, wow. So a lot of things shifted, even with logos and everything. A lot of things shifted, even the way our image facing organization itself. I think a lot of it had to do with the times. The times had a lot to do with the way we shift and how we service people, the demands, and also our confidence. we became more confident in our stance, more confident in our approaches, more confident in our capacities to make those transformative changes, those transformative services to make sure that we're not leaving women, less than the way we met them. I think the confidence in who we are as an organization and the specialties that we kind of like picked up on and developed on how we outreach, I think that helped us become more stronger than we were at year one, two, or three. I remember at year one, in those early years, I would mumble and fumble every time somebody asked me, "What are you and what do you do?" I never had a clear explanation of what I did. I'm like, because I wanted to say, "I'm healing." Is that enough? No. What is your organization? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trying to heal. I don't know how to explain what my organization does. So now that I look at it, I'm like, oh, Felicita, yeah, she was just trying to heal and started something. No wonder she didn't know how to, profess her vision or mission, because she was just trying to heal and she couldn't project that because she's a nonprofit. So now that I'm like in past that journey, I'm always still healing, but now that my healing journey became stronger, I can profess the mission, I can profess the vision, the direction of Yo Soy Ella. And um that right there, having that confidence, I knew that she's a whole different organization than what she was before. The confidence helped me evolve new programming and change things that were working but can be better. Evolving, and that confidence helped me introduce Yo Soy Ella to other platforms, the ones that I was intimidated with before, other corporations that intimidated me once before, people that intimidated me no longer intimidate me, along with imposter syndrome. So those things, that confidence I had to stick with it and not give up, no matter how, bad she looked at year three or year four, how she was in her discovery phases. I just never gave up on Yo Soy Ella because I never gave up on myself. So I I never gave up on my healing journey because remember she was part of it. So that's why she was able to still continue, because I just never gave up on my healing journey. So yeah. Yo Soy Ella saved me. I will always say that she saved me. So yeah.
I think that is can be so relatable because a lot of times when we have a vision or want to start something, it could be hard for us to like be able to articulate exactly what we're trying to do because it's an evolution. And a lot of us start something because we are healing and want to bring other people along to heal with us. And so I appreciate that you share that part because it's so true. And a lot of people might feel like they are failing already if they cannot articulate or if they cannot do this or that in year one of their business. And it's that resiliency and tenacity to keep going and to keep giving yourself grace and care and just love throughout the whole process that is
Right.
um, encouraging. And I hope that my listeners will find encouragement through that, whether they are starting a nonprofit or their own business or just anywhere in their journey.
Yes, and embrace the messiness. It's not going to be organized. If you're at the beginning, embrace the messiness, embrace the chaos, embrace the I don't know what I'm doing phase, because it's okay. You're gonna expect that. It's gonna happen. And embrace the fact that sometimes you have to scratch everything you had in mind and start over. People don't like to start over. It's not a failure if you're starting over. It's a failure if you quit. Starting over is okay. I had to start over in year seven with Yo Soy Ella. I had to rebrand her because I didn't know her anymore. I had to rediscover her. And people are afraid because they feel like they're disowning something that's like a baby organization. You're not disowning her if you're rebranding her or trying to make her re-evolve or rediscover her. You're just trying to make her more aligned with who you are today. And that's something I had to give myself grace, like you said, Karina. Give yourself grace, give yourself room to make sure that it's okay. If this happens, don't quit. If you go in this direction, don't quit. If you redirect something, it's okay, because you're not the same at year one that you were at year three or year seven.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
How did the years of the pandemic shift that trajectory and that journey and that programming?
Oh my God. I think I'm like most organizations, the pandemic really did a number on us. But it was, like we're a nonprofit, obviously, so we didn't have a lot of financial losses, right? Because we're a nonprofit, but we had a lot of service challenges because of the pandemic, a lot of barriers. Everything had to be digital. Everything had to be more so on a non-in-person contact level, right? Something that we are unfamiliar with at that time. But what the pandemic did for us, it actually reawoken who we were. You said, oh no, we did not go to sleep during the pandemic. It just revived, it's like revived something inside of us. It was like either now or never. If Yo Soy Ella was asleep all those other years, even though we weren't, but we consider ourselves like, because we're different people, we were crawling and trying. We are awake now. The level of impact that we've had during pandemic tripled what we had in 6 years. 7 years, because the pandemic came in our year 8, it tripled. So the pandemic let us kind of showed us to create those big, broad shoulders that we didn't have. It created a stepping stone to helping us see ourselves. We can do more if we do this. We can do more if we align ourselves in this area. Things that we never saw ourselves back in the day, back in those early days. We saw our truest capacities during the pandemic. And I hate to use that, as a celebratory moment. Either it was a dark moment for many, many lives of many other people. I lost 7 family members during the pandemic, in Panama. So it was a very hard time for many families. But it was something just transformative for Yosoaya. Like I saw her in a different light that I thought I would never ever see if it wasn't for the pandemic.
Like you mentioned, like the pandemic was such a huge awakening for the world and how we go about life in general and how we go about business and having to pivot and shift. And I feel like everything, like all the feelings were present, and nonprofit organizations were really, um, I guess businesses in general were had the pressure of what are we going to do next in order to serve our clients. And it's a it's scary and it's hard, and I give so much, like I celebrate all of the businesses that just kind of did what they had to do, especially if they were in an organization or a place of serving people and being there for people. And there was just a lot of shifts that took place, and I celebrate those who really took time to be intentional about how they continued to grow and move their business along. Um, is there anything that you are looking forward to as far as Yo Soy Ella, in the coming few months as you close out the year and plan ahead to next year, that we can also be looking out for and supporting?
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this question, Karina, because like I said, we are on year 12, 12 and a half, maybe year in August, so still there. And we're always looking for that, that next thing that will keep us close enough to making sure that we're serving the community of women the way that we feel is best for them. And that's not always easy as it seems, especially if you have so many organizations doing the same thing, or if you're partnering with other organizations. You want to make sure that you're all aligned and the people that you're serving are not overwhelmed with so much services. They don't know who to trust, where to go to, or who's doing what. You don't want to make a mental gymnastics for those who are seeking services. You want to make that seamless as possible. So what we're doing next is called Curbside Compassion. It's a mobile unit. She's so cute. Her nickname is Cece, and she's in the works right now of getting built by carpentry, and along with several other individuals who are part of that project with a brown hue. Verante, shout out to him, who's taking lead and spearheading in renovating this transit van, cargo van, right, into a mobile health care unit, not like a clinic or anything like that, but more so like a mobile office that women, when we go into the community, and those women who are seeking services, whether it's at alongside a line of food trucks or at a community fair or at a health fair or in the community, we will drive up and post up a CC and provide brief interventions and resources for women who are in need of mental health services or those who are experiencing DV but are afraid to, go or call someone or go to these different DV locations because of whatever reasons. We know there's various reasons, but we want to make sure that we're accessible. I always call this one little example is like if you go to what does he say, like a health fair, or you go to any outdoor music festival, and they have all these these food vans and whatnot, and sometimes, or first aid kits, first aid vans, right, or centers, right, but or police stations, sometimes they're little tent there, but and within those festivals, a lot of domestic disputes that goes on, boyfriend fighting with girlfriend or girlfriend fighting with girlfriend, however you call it. There's a lot of disputes that can go on, but if we create a presence that we're there to either put out that small fire or be a mediator or be a support for that woman who is at this festival for whatever reason, or this man or this child or whatever it may look like, we want to be there for that festival, provide that resource for them to navigate those emotional challenges or the physical challenges they're experiencing right then and there. That's just one example. But other than that, we want to be in the community and mobilize what we're doing, since we don't have a brick and mortar, let's say, because we don't want to be, restrained to different communities. We want to be more expansive in that sense. So we are excited about curbside compassion, our mobile outreach in a sense. And we just hope that this will be completed by October, the end of October. And she'll be, showing herself out in November during the holiday months, and of course, flourishing all through 2025. So that's our new upcoming thing that we got going on.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. And
Uh-huh.
I'll look out for the debut and share. And yeah, that is really exciting for us to be looking forward to. And I think that is, again, like a brilliant idea and a brilliant um, resource for people. A lot of times, like it's hard to go to, like you said, a brick and mortar and ask for help, or like sometimes you don't even know how to start the process of asking for help. And a simple um, flyer, brochure, or just like an acknowledgement for people to see that this resource is available or its presence um, is huge. So I am excited for that. Um, what encouragement or advice would you have for the next generation as it pertains to the work that you do?
Hmm. You know what? I mentioned this earlier in our conversation, and I experience this even more, as I grow and get these wonderful experiences to showcase who Yo Soy Ella is and what I do. Um, Doing your part. I really want to stress that. It's important for this generation to understand, especially when we have social media, everything looking for that next person to be in the spotlight. Stop looking for the spotlight. Stop looking for the main stage. Stop looking for the grandiose opportunity or that $100,000 grant or whatever that may look like. Stop always looking for the big picture and work with what's in front of you. If you just do your part, if everyone did their part, Adina, can you imagine that? If everyone would just do their part instead of trying to own a spotlight all the time, I can guarantee you everything else will fall in place. The expectations won't be overwhelming. You won't overwork yourself, overstress yourself. You won't disappoint yourself because you just did your part. And that's the reward that you can get within yourself. Others can see in you. Others can say, like, oh my gosh, she just did her part and look how happy she is. Let me try that. Let me do that. And I guarantee you, it will create such a great rewarding system for yourself, and it will transform in the relationships that you have with other people by doing your part.
Mm.
Yeah.
I feel like that is wise advice for anybody, especially for this next generation. I feel like I can definitely use that advice myself, but for this next generation that is so present in social media, like everything is so visual, and sometimes it's okay to be like just focus on what's in front of you as opposed to like the end, like $1 million or whatnot. I feel like it could get, yes, I think about my own kids and how they're just like, I want XYZ and a million subscribers and all of it. And I'm just like, just do the thing and be consistent. Um,
Oh my God, I
yeah.
have consistency as my year in my closet. It's consistency. Is a little sticky note. It's written there. Consistency. That's my 2024 word of the year. So yeah, be
So
consistent.
good. Yes. Yes, that's how growth happens. Where
Yeah.
can people find you and connect with you and Yo Soy Ella?
So Yo Soy Ella is that on all platforms. So it's YOSOYELLA Inc. INC on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. It's the same tagline. Yeah, you can find us on those areas. Yo Soy Ella Inc. And our website, of course, is www.yosoella.org. You can find all the cool things we're doing there, and you can connect with us if you want to volunteer or check out what we're doing next. We're always looking for people that are interested in what we are expanding to. So, yeah, you can find us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story and for your time. I am so grateful for you and the work that you're doing, and I can't wait to connect again soon.
Thank you, Karina.
You're welcome. We'll see each other soon. Bye.
Okay.
The work that Yo Soy Ella is doing is so beautiful and much needed for our community. So stay tuned for future events that they will be hosting. Okay, amigos, thank you so much for listening. There will be a new episode every Tuesday, so after you listen, feel free to take a screenshot to post on Instagram and tag at Elevating La Cultura or send me a DM. You can also comment on our YouTube video if you're watching online. I always like to hear from people and how they resonate with the stories that I share. So leave a review on Apple Podcasts so we can get more ears listening to these stories and we can continue elevating La Cultura. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, whenever you're listening, y nos vemos next week. Bye.